show, a veteran musician like you. We met so many times and we had a few discussions, and I've always thought that, you're a very interesting person. You're always never short of anything to talk about, so it's very easy to have a chat with you. And of course, your musical journey is like phenomenal. You are the true icons of the 80s and you're still so respected. So I just want to meet up and talk to you and just find out a little bit more about you and maybe introduce you to another different generation of people, and so that everyone knows how you came up in the industry and what it was like back in the day, and just to have a little bit of a chat about that and maybe some other things later on.
So it's going to be very interesting.
I have a feeling it will be. Mariazelle, so tell us, everyone, when your name is associated with obviously the famous hit Candy La Missy a lot, and a few other songs as well. But tell us how it began for you, and how old were you when you started, and what kind of made you gravitate towards the music industry?
I guess it's all about the genes, Anil. I am actually not a Goonetilleke. My father was a Makaranda. So Harsha Makaranda.
I was just about to say. Okay.
Yeah, they're cousins. His grandfather and my grandfather were brothers, I believe. When you talk about Harsha and you talk about the Makarandas and you talk about John De Silva, you know where.
Right.
Or where it all comes down to. So, from a very young age, I kind of like showed signs of being musical, and apparently couldn't stop me singing.
Right.
I just had to get into the vehicle and I would start. It's like, So my father would fondly say that, he would joke and say that when they were trying to immunize me, they had lost the needle. So they used a gramophone needle. So that was the result.
Right.
And that was why I was
You got infected with music.
got infected with it. Therefore, from a very young age, I wanted to play instruments, and I had a baby Hawaiian guitar when I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Right.
And then, of course, I graduated. Before that, I had a piano.
Right.
Didn't like to learn piano because my teacher, God bless her, was Miss Wright. And she was, in my eyes at that time, she was very old. Right? And
How old was she? Do you remember?
she must have
been about in her 30s, but when you're young now, 30s seems like ancient.
3 and 4 years. I think you tend to look at everybody anything over in light. You
Geriatric.
So her thing was just say, look at the book. Look at the book, and I hate it.
Theory, basically.
Even to play sight reading and all
Right,
that.
right.
I just wanted to play by ear. So this didn't work out. And
This was piano, right?
yeah, piano. So the piano was just shelved. It was lying there at home.
Was she someone who used to hit your knuckles with a ruler when you made a mistake? Because that's what happened to me, and I gave up learning piano after that. Sadistic piano teachers.
I know. Sometimes they do that with good intentions, but it can have a very bad reaction on some.
Of course.
Especially a child.
It's some form of abuse, isn't it?
Easy.
I mean, these days, if you do that, you're going in like Europe or America, you're going to end up in jail.
Right, yeah. So, then my father didn't force me, and then I wanted to play Hawaiian guitar. I played Hawaiian guitar, and then that too I shelved. And after a little while, I started looking at the Spanish guitar.
Right.
And that was when my father bought me a
That's nylon string, right?
nylon string.
Yeah.
I started playing classical guitar, and he got me at the time the best tutor to visit home, Winston Jayawardena.
Right.
And that was how my journey began. And in 1967, I entered the Lasto talent competition, which was also broadcast over Radio Ceylon.
Right.
But I did not make it then. I mean, those are all experiences. But when you're young, you get discouraged and all of that. And so therefore, I was not looking at getting into any competitions after that. But
Right.
fate had it written differently for me. And Milroy Peter, he was living up our lane.
Right.
Milroy was
Now, how old are you when all this is happening now at this stage?
8, 9.
8, 9. Okay, so still very young.
Still very young. So Milroy was playing with the Fireflies at the time. And he somehow convinced my mom to enter me for the Observer Talent Search.
Right.
which I...
Wow, Observer was in the scene even back then. No? Okay, they were always promoting music, no Observer?
Yes,
Right.
talent. And also they had another beauty competition.
Right.
So
So for so for people who don't know, I mean, I'm just saying, if you're watching this and you don't know, Observer is obviously the Sunday newspaper of the Daily News, which is run by Lake House, and they used to be quite involved in music, and not so much now. But yeah,
No.
okay, because they had the Golden Clef Awards, right?
Don't care for words.
We'll come to that later. That's another kettle of fish. Okay, so go on.
So I went on to win the junior section, and that was the launching pad for me to join a pre-teenage band called the Junior Rhythmias.
Pre-teenage band, so everyone was young.
So, yeah, all young.
Wow, how young?
The eldest one was 14, Neil Carrera was still my brother and friend.
Right.
And his younger brother, Siri, was lead guitarist, and Neil was playing bass.
Right.
Siri played lead. And the youngest of the three brothers, Eugene, played rhythm. And we had Clarence Correra on drums. So,
Right.
very famous Clarence Correra, was now deceased.
So how did you meet up with them?
Oh, that's another story.
Okay.
Fireflies, the drummer was Mohan Sabaratnam.
Okay.
And Mohan, well, soon after winning the Observe Talent Search, I got it into my head to form an all-girl band.
Right.
So my father never, he always said, do things the right way.
Right.
And he thought the best people would be members of the Fireflies to come and train us.
All right.
So Mohan trained the drummer. Daryl De Silva would come and train the guitarists.
Right.
And I played rhythm, of course, and then I sang, and everybody would sing as well.
Right.
And that,
So you play rhythm guitar?
yeah.
Electric or?
For the students, I had an electric guitar.
Wow. Do you have any footage of this stuff?
No, sadly.
No camera photos.
There were no camera phones, and I mean, we didn't have movie camera.
But that's very progressive, no? Mariazelle back in the day, like a band with like young people like this, and like girls who played instruments. Like even now we have very few females who play instruments in this country, like on stage, right?
We had, at that time, we had the planets. They were already existing.
They were all females, is it?
All females.
Wow, I never knew about this band.
Priya Goonetilleke and her sister Shiranti were... Priya was a drummer, Shiranti was a vocalist. And quite a few of the Visakians, I think they were all from Visakha.
Oh, right, okay.
So we had the planets. And then I wanted to go in that line. And so Daryl and Mohan used to come and train us. And then that was not working out. That was not clicking out because some of
The girls are fighting with each other.
No, the girls had boyfriends. And they would make it an excuse to come for practice, but actually go with the boyfriends.
Oh, right.
Parents got to know, and
Yeah, because I imagine back in the day, things are so strict, right?
oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah?
So
And I mean, you guys, how old were you? You said the eldest was 14, so how old were you? You were 10 maybe?
the junior Rhythmia's eldest was 14.
All right.
But the girls, some of them were 16 and 17.
Right. And you were young. You also were 16?
No, I was the youngest. I was 10, 11.
10, 11. Sure, 10, 11 playing electric guitar. That's so cool. So did you all, before it kind of wrapped up, did you all play any gigs live?
We did. We played at Tamil Union for one of the members' nights. We just did a set of about 6 or 7 songs. That was all we could. Right. That was all our repertoire had.
Right. Like what other songs you all played? All covers must be, no?
All covers, all English covers. And, they were very encouraging, I must say.
Right.
The audience was very encouraging. Here were a bunch of girls starting out. I'm sure we had lots and lots of bad notes being hit.
No, well, if the girls are going out with your boyfriends, you're probably not practicing too much, right? You were practicing, but not the band practice.
Yeah, no, they used to come late. So finally the parents figured out, and my parents also figured out that,
It's not working out.
it's not working out. So
Were you a very, very, very serious with your music when you were young at 9? Like, did you get angry when these people were putting their time and effort into the band, or you thought no?
Well, the discipline side of it,
Yeah.
I didn't quite handle, and I didn't know.
Right.
But my thing was the music had to be spot on. So I don't like to talk about this, but I'm a quick learner.
Right.
I learn very fast.
Fair.
And I also, I master things very fast as well.
Right.
So for me, when the chord structure it's there, it's all written up. They used to write it out for us those days. But
Right.
I used to follow the chord structure. When the others are not following the chord structure, and I used to get turned off. And I used to
Right.
really,
That happened. Yeah.
and those
It can be quite annoying, yeah.
very annoying. Like you go from C to F or C to G. And I had changed to G and they are still on C.
See.
So that kind of, so this was really annoying for me and things are not working out with the girls. So then Mohan came up with the idea. He had already spoken to Auntie Mildred Pereira and the mother of the junior and the manager. And then he came and told my parents. I said, there is this little band, all youngsters. Would you consider allowing Mariazelle to go and sing with them?
Right.
So I was music crazy. I was, like I couldn't live without music. So they said, okay, since they're all children, we don't mind. They took me for an audition and that was that.
Okay. Mariazelle, can I just ask you, when you were young, like 9 years old, 10 years, what were the artists that kind of influenced you at that time?
But obviously we didn't have
You
TV.
didn't have to, and radio also was not like you were spoiled for choice.
Because, if you had box office coming out in the USA or in the UK, it took about 3 months for it to come out here in Sri Lanka. That long. So my exposure was to Sri Lankan artists
Right.
and icons. And two people who really influenced me to do music and to take the stage were Minal Fernando and Darren Subi, with
Right.
Ronaldo at the time. So I remember...
Minon was obviously with the Jetliners, right?
Yes.
And Darren was with Savages, or?
She was with Savages. At the time when I used to just go and watch Minon perched on a... Okay. Beautiful memories, of course. I was very young. And Minon...
And you guys were all like good-looking people also, no? Even, you're still good-looking, but I've seen pictures when you were young. You were quite stunning too. Like, I'll get to it. But I remember seeing you in the 80s on a show. Obviously I was very young then, but still I could admire a thing of beauty. And you sang something on one of those either Leon Bennett shows or something. You came on, and you were quite stunning, and you still are. So, and Minon also, so the guys had made a pretty good team.
Minon was... I could... As a little child, I couldn't go to the Coconut Grove
Right.
and see them because it was only for adults.
Where was the Coconut Grove?
At the Golf Face Hotel.
Golf Face Hotel, okay.
Not the main banquet that they have, they're converted now to...
Yeah.
For weddings and so on.
Okay.
The Coconut Grove...
At the bottom?
No,
on
on the side.
It's on the side where you have the other reception halls.
The smaller one.
Smaller ones. Okay.
So that was known as a Coconut Grove, and they
Must have been pretty happening, no? A big crowd?
huge crowd. At me. For those days, yes, massive crowd. So I used to love to go and listen to the bands, and my father used to take me in the nights, and we couldn't go inside because I was young.
Right.
So he used to perch me on the windowsill, and I used to look down into the wall, even though I was enthralled. I was just mesmerized.
But it's very nice of your dad to do that, though. Like, he obviously saw that and you must have had a close bond with your dad. It seems like you guys are very close.
Both my parents.
Oh, okay.
They were very encouraging, and they are a student. Stood in the way of anything that we wanted to do.
All right.
So that was my exposure to music and live music. Of course, RDG Van here.
Yeah.
She was Pereira then. She was a friend of my parents. They used to come home. And then she introduced me to the Harold Senurata combo, Patrick Nelson combo.
Right.
So I used to go and watch them where they performed. But then again, she used to take me to the service entrance of the Mount Lavinia Hotel.
You were so young.
I was so young. I was not allowed to get into the club.
Okay.
But I used to go and, hide myself and watch C.T. Fernando,
Oh, right.
the flow show.
So cool to hear you say all these names because, I know when I was growing up, my parents used to listen to all these C.T. Fernando and my uncles, and also the fact that you got to see them live is amazing, right?
For me, that was, oh my gosh, that was Christmas.
Right. And they were quality singers, no?
Quality singers. I noticed that every one of them were impeccably dressed.
Right.
And so smartly turned out.
Right.
Really smartly turned out.
Always in suits and stuff.
Always in suits. And not garish. It was not an eyesore,
Right.
Very smart. And I think those were the things that really influenced me to do music and that influenced my dressing and the way I looked at music, the way I looked at other people, the way I looked at myself.
Right.
And well, one day I was at a radio salon at the time. Some show called The Young Ones, I think it was called. Right. And then the Spitfires had just returned from Damascus or somewhere. And Darren was, Spitfires and Albania. Darren had just joined them. And I see this lady coming, like a Greek goddess, Sophia Loren, a Sri Lankan version of Sophia, I would say, in an emerald green bell-bottom suit.
Right.
At that time, bell-bottoms for ladies with the suits were very popular.
Right.
Right? And they were...
This was like 70s?
This is the late
60s, yeah. I thought 60s was the bell-bottom time, no? Yeah.
She sang
Who is it? Alreen, is it?
Harry.
Yeah.
And she just returned from overseas, from somewhere.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about her because the bass player in the Savages is my uncle, Evan Balasuriya.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot about Dalreen and I've seen pictures and she was always very glamorous and flamboyant, right? Even now, she still dresses up, right? So
Mostly in black now, but still very classy.
right.
So I saw this Greek goddess lady, and I just couldn't get her out of my mind.
Right.
Thereafter, we used to buy the weekend
Newspaper, yeah.
And
Which was a great newspaper, I must say, back in the day.
every cover was either Mignon or...
Oh, yeah, really? Okay.
I had a whole pile of these newspaper cuttings.
You were like a proper fangirl, huh?
Huge fan. And I used to, I didn't have a microphone. I used to take the comb or the hairbrush or something, stand in front of the mirror and try to sing like Darren. And when I started playing and singing, then I used to want to emulate Mignon.
Right.
So these two ladies,
Really
all these, yeah.
So after that, now you're still young. How did you, obviously a couple of years later, how did you kind of properly get into the scene and then get introduced to songwriters, and how did the whole Candy Lamishi thing come about?
So from Junior Leather Bears, I was there for a while and then I took a break. I joined another little group called the Monsters.
Right.
We had Tilak Dias.
Tilak Dias.
And Kapil Pereira on lead.
Right.
So, big names now.
Of course.
Names now.
I think Tilak is kind of revamping Rattlesnake for a concert, right? This Sunday, right? So
Always a...
yeah, of course. And very nice guy as a super bass player.
Yeah. So, from the Monsters, I joined the Emeralds tribe. And with Aruna Sirivardhana.
Oh, okay.
Go like that. And for me, I was telling Aruna very recently, I said, Aruna, just to know that I have at some point in my life been associated with you on the same stage.
Right. It's so crazy, isn't it, Mariazelle, that the musicians who were really good back then are still the musicians who are like quite respected even now, because like Aruna, people like Kamal, people like Tilak Das, I mean, it says a lot about how people learned their craft back in the day. It was like they were so knowledgeable and so disciplined about everything.
I'm going to share. This is the truth, right? We came from an era where we were not exposed, or we did not have access to gadgets.
YouTube.
Not YouTube, but gadgets and foreign, amplifiers, guitars,
Right.
so on. We had to make do with whatever. So I remember things like the distortion. Now it's called distortion. Those days it was called the fuzz pedal.
Fuzz pedal, okay.
And the wah-wah pedal.
Wah-wah
Two
pedal.
pedals. So just in pedals, right? The Jack Islanders had, Spitfires had, and the one other band that had was Gypsies.
Gypsies, okay.
So with the Monsters, we used to do a selection of English as well as Sinhala songs.
Right.
So Sinhala songs that we used to do were Golden Chimes, Moonstones, those songs.
Right.
So I remember at the time, Golden Chimes had come out with this song called Modurella Usse.
Right.
And there you use the Wawa pedal.
Yes.
Right? So Kamal, to get the feel of the Wawa pedal, would turn his...
False.
No, he would turn his rubber slippers,
Oh.
right? The flip-flop on the other way around. And he used to
I like the pedal. Yeah.
like the pedals just to get the feel
Yeah.
of using the pedal. He would, he would imagine this is what it would, and it worked. It worked. So we actually came up very, very hard. It was not an easy life at that time.
And I mean, even if you had the money, there was nowhere to buy this stuff, right?
No imports, no, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the gypsies were kind of lucky because they had the business going.
Of course. So they were well off. They were traveling also, probably. Yeah.
So probably through the business they were able to import, certain items. And then I think Tony Fernando was agent for certain things.
Right.
Then we had Harmonix. Mr. Williams he was agent for certain items, and like that we could gather a few.
Did you ever have any? Were you very close to Sunil Pereira, or you met him back in the day, or how?
Well, most often the junior rhythmists and the gypsies used to be together. So always, when I say, pretty often. We would not we were not pairs like Matang level or something like.
He was a bit of a ladies' man back in the day. He didn't try to come and flirt with you around me. I mean, we can't rest his soul, but I think he won't be upset of me saying that. So, but
he treated me with a lot of respect.
Right.
All the boys.
And this was before he was married, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So
he was still in school, if I'm not mistaken. All the boys were in school at the time, and we were all just kids, But so we were not allowed to mix with them. Also.
Right.
I was with my mom all the time, and then the junior rhythmists, their mother was with them. So all the adults used to handle all the discussions, and okay, we will lend you this, and you can use this, and we try this out. All of that was done by the adults. So, but Sunil and I, we had a very respectful relationship between one another. I respected him. I respected his musicality. I respected the fact that he was an entertainer par excellence, and he was a different brand altogether.
of course,
He
was like, I think the closest thing we've ever got to a Michael Jackson, like in the sense that not that he did all this moonwalking, but he could get onto a stage and he could just say hello and the crowd would go crazy. He just had that X
also
factor.
gimmicks and those costumes and everything that brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
But I think even Sunil, you would know because you were there in that time. I think even Sunil at the start probably wasn't like the Sunil when he got into his 30s. I think only later on he discovered this. Or was he always like this when he was young? Was he always like a very charismatic guy when he got on stage? He could really own a crowd.
Sunil was the one who used to always keep the crowd going, talk, and he would, But all of us were influenced by Western music. So all of us did Western music. And I think we had bands like the Moonstones, Golden Giants, the Golden Giants later on, and a few of the others like Samanaleo, Los Flamingos, all these people from
La Filonians.
Nasino.
I only know them, my dad had all the records of this.
They had their own compositions, singular compositions. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sunil's father would have been the one to tell them, no, this is not the way to go.
Oh.
You need to cater to the mass market, which is
Single.
And that was when they broke out with Goonetilleke and stuff,
Right.
And that was the way to go.
Let's talk about Candila Missy and how did you get the chance to record that and how did that happen?
Okay, so
Did you write that song?
yes,
Oh, you wrote it?
I don't know.
Wow, that's brilliant though.
this is how it all came about.
Right.
I was with the Emeralds.
With who?
Emeralds.
Emeralds.
And we had a second band called Blue Sapphires. So Kicho Chandrasena, the drummer of Blue Sapphires, and we were all friends. We were good friends, and we used to be playing together, first and second band always. And Kito one day was, at a break, started singing this real ruffian kind of song, but it was catchy. It was very, so definitely not the kind of words that you should be singing. But I caught it up, and then I asked him, I said, Kito, can I rewrite this? And he said, go ahead. Through friends, we didn't know anything about copyrights and royalties and, infringing copyrights like this with the music. So I rewrote it to suit me. There were only three verses. I added in 5 verses. Right. But recorded only 4. And rearranged the whole thing.
Right.
And for the rearranging of the music, I got help from M.K. Roxani,
Right.
who assigned the instruments for the music and all of that. And then it's nice to be performing this setup.
So you think that's the song that became Candy Let Me See?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Strange how that thing happened, no? It's crazy how this fate just plays such a big part, right?
I used to be singing this at Akasakari at the time,
Right.
performing there.
You are my one and only one, and you're my ever loving one. I'm your one and only Candy, let me see. It's about what my yoka and your sweet bonica. I'm your one and only Candy, let me see. Say, sweet
Marie, come to me. You're my one and only Candy, let me see.
It's about a don't say Malayan, I've got 10 acres, no young.
Was it an instant hit or it took some time?
It was
Right.
I just happened to be the right place.
And you must have been very young. How was you, 20?
Yeah.
19?
No. I was 18.
Oh my God. I'm imagining an 18-year-old Mariazelle now singing this. All the guys must have gone crazy. Huh? You must have had a lot of admirers, Mariazelle. Come on. Back in the day,
Probably.
you had a few boyfriends, so tell the truth. Huh?
Yeah.
So why not?
Yeah, of course. I think most of them would have been deterred by my father. Just looking at him would have been enough to, send him off. He was tough.
You're right. Of course, all that's my without.
No, his son was like Sergeant Major.
Oh, really? Did he come for your shows and stand guard near the stage? And not that bad.
Sometimes, yes. Yeah, sometimes, yes. But it was mom who used to go with me all the time.
Oh, right.
And it was his, what can I say? He was someone who really, but I had a dream to record. Whereas once I did again, Delrin. I had seen Delrin recording, and again I wanted to do what Delrin had done.
Right.
So when I came up with Candy Let Me See, he met Mr. Vijay Pale Terachi of Gentone, and told him my daughter has a song she wants to record it, and Mr. Terachi, sweetheart, absolute sweetheart. He said, Gela, ask her to come. So my father took me there and he said, sing. And I was sort of, sing what? Where? I'm not used to just somebody saying sing and singing just like that. He said, then we miss the garden, tap on the tap and then sing. So with a lot of difficulty, I did sing. And then he said, okay, recording was such a what? So we were directed to Hudson Samuel Singer, who wrote not 3 songs, but 2 songs. So Candy Let Me See had another song on the same side of Candy Let Me See. There was Ranamunana. And for the first time in the history of recording artists in Sri Lanka, I did this 6-song single on the other side.
Right.
The flip side of Candy Let Me See, the EP had
The B-side, they call it the B-side, right? Yeah.
had this 6-song,
Right.
and this was called Lokewat, excuse me. It was all about all the places that I had imagined going to travel
Right.
to, from India to Egypt to the Thames,
Right.
you all over. And this was all around the world in 6 minutes.
Right.
And this EP sold out.
Wow.
He had, I believe, if I remember right.
This is on vinyl, right? Or records?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at that time, the vinyl stage was quietly moving out.
Oh, right. Okay. And the tapes are coming in.
Cassettes were coming.
Cassettes are coming in, yeah.
But I managed to do 5 EPs though.
Wow.
Even that time. So this one, I think he had, not knowing that there would be a demand for it, because it was a risk. I was an unknown singer. He had pressed just 100 or 200 EPs. And this sold out in a week.
Wow.
So then he kept on, reproducing and reproducing. And I mean, I'm eternally grateful to Mr. Richie for that break. Because I became an overnight success.
Right.
I was
This was, and then how old were you down?
19.
90. Wow, so young.
And
Can I ask you, Mariazelle, back in the day, so when you were, I mean, 18, 19, you were even young now, but these days, of course, a lot of 18, 19-year-olds overseas are in the music industry a lot. In fact, these days, 30 is considered ancient in the, in the Western, in the overseas. So Mariazelle, back in the day, like, I want to ask you, because you were 19 years old, which is very young, and like, even now, the music industry in Sri Lanka has always been a very male-dominated sport, I mean, it's very rare that you, when I say, I mean, there are vocalists, female vocalists, but like when you say musicians and all, and also, behind it all, it's always a guy doing. Back in the day, for you being 19 years old, getting into the thick of things, having a big hit like this, were there certain people trying to badmouth you or put you down, or were the men a little bit envious of you because, oh my God, look at this girl has come in now and she's doing songs like this, or were the women who were your peers, were they a little bit, how did you handle all of this?
oh my gosh, that was a shocker, really, because I was brought up in cotton wool, practically.
Right.
Right? So we didn't really know that there was this vicious world out there.
Right.
To me, everything was, very rosy and very sweet, and, everything was cool.
Right.
But, okay, why I even decided to record or even do a song by Candida Music, because of Desmond De Silva. Mama no, Papa no,
Yes.
Folka to Hand. Then all this was Singlish, So I too wanted to experiment. I never imagined that it would take off the way it did. But to get back to the viciousness and the ugly side of the industry, oh my gosh, I just faced it full on.
So can you give us some example of what was like said and what was put your way?
Oh gosh. Everything. Like I was sleeping around.
Right.
I had to sleep my way to the top. I had to do this.
The problem, no? Every time a woman makes it.
Prostitute. I'm a prostitute. This and everything you could. Every slanderous word you can imagine in the dictionary was used on me.
That is so unfair. Like every time a woman makes it to certain place, it's always okay. She had to sleep her way to get there. It's never because she was good enough to do it. It's really unfair.
And I don't think people the giants at that time were Desmond De Silva, Nihal Nelson, MS Fernando, Anton Jones. These were the people who were doing my kind of music.
Right. How were they? They were okay. So these were all your peers who were doing all the gossip.
Yeah, because I was new to the industry. These all came not from the Western industry.
Right.
Right? It came from the Oriental.
Oriental, okay.
That was the caliber of the people there. That was the way they thought.
So did your parents get to hear these stories?
Yes, thanks.
So that must have been furious.
It was furious. If you could have actually laid a hand on any one of them, I think they would have been in hospital. They'd still be in hospital. Right? But it's just that, thank God for them, they were there to sort of cushion me and sort of shield me from a lot of things and give me a lot of strength. And, just move on.
And it must have been very disheartening for you when you heard those stories, right?
Very.
Did any of those stories come from people who were close to you? Did you know or no?
Invariably, I found out that it did.
Yeah, that's the usual thing, isn't it? Sometimes the people who are close to you are the way to tear you down.
Yeah, exactly. What was sad was that they spoke like they'd actually seen.
Right.
They'd seen this and that, and I couldn't quite believe that they would go to that level.
But they were obviously envious, weren't they? They were jealous of you.
That's just human nature.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They wanted what you had. They couldn't have it, so they had to make stories about you. That's the best way they can do.
The sad thing is, I realized that after I got married and I had a son, and my son started going to school, it was in a different way. He used to get attacked in a different way.
Oh, really?
What they couldn't say and do to me, they would take out on him.
So you mean to say it was going on for so long? It's crazy, Mariazelle.
Parents, teachers,
Really?
and he used to, he was bewildered. He didn't know what was going on. He used to come home, very upset. This one said this and that one said this. I spotted it out straight away, and I used to,
Did you confront any of these people who are doing all this stuff?
what's the use? It's like me getting into the pigsty with them.
Right. I mean, and in any way, even if if you had a few relationships back then, it's no one's business but yours anyway. I'm not saying it's true what they said, but even if it was, who cares?
It was not relationship. Relationship is a different thing.
Yeah.
This was just sleep.
The sleep, Okay.
I was loose.
Yeah, you were loose, yeah. Then that's well, guys are loose all the time. I mean, I'm not saying you were, but I mean, why should there be a double standard like that,
But then Sri Lanka is all about double standards. That's what it is, right? Sri Lankans, Sri Lanka, we are all about double standards.
Yeah, that's true. Very
What
true.
we portray out there is not what we actually are.
Yeah.
And that is why now, after so many years of having experienced this rubbish, I have distanced myself from lots of people
Right.
and lots of places. I'm very happy in my little.
Environment that you have built for yourself, yeah.
I'm very happy when I'm at home.
Your son doesn't want to dabble into music, no? He's not.
Anil is an extremely talented child.
Right.
Extremely talented.
And I mean, if you win, because you used to play instruments as well, so he must have got something of that.
He has. But music was not the foremost thing on his mind.
Right.
He would do music because I would like him to do it and because it was a relaxation, but his field was science always.
Right.
So I saw, now getting back to, sometimes things can work the other way around.
Right.
In my case, it didn't. My becoming a musician, even though I liked to do it and all of that, was more my father's passion and dream than my own.
Right.
Right? I promised myself I will not do that to my son. I would give him the freedom to.
To choose what he wants, yeah.
I gave him wings, he flew, and I'm very proud of him.
What's he up to these days?
He's just completed his doctorate, so he
wow, it's really nice.
officially doctor,
PhD, yeah, okay. Very nice. Very.
genuine PhD.
I must make you very proud, obviously. A genuine PhD.
Very proud, very.
Not a gifted PhD.
Not a stolen money either.
So,
He makes me very proud and very happy.
very good. I'm so happy for you.
He's achieved everything on his own. I've done nothing. I've just.
Well, you have been there and you supported him and you've given him the platform to achieve everything, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, parents,
I have only been able to support him carefully.
Perfect.
Yeah, that was all I could do. I couldn't spend on his education.
Right.
It was a blessing that he was a British citizen by birth,
Right.
and he was entitled to certain things.
Which is it?
He is a British
British citizen.
by
Okay.
birth.
All right.
So he was entitled to education and all of these things that he has received.
So is he there now in the UK?
He's in Rio.
So how often do you see him?
Not very often.
Well, now actually you can see him to Skype and no, not Skype. Now you have Zoom and FaceTime and all that.
But unfortunately, he's never free to see me on Zoom. And I think he'd rather not see me.
Oh, no, I'm sure that's not the case. Come on.
He's a good boy. He's a good child.
Right. But I'm really surprised that these teachers and people to try to take it out on him, which is really ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how people can be so vicious, But then we come from a generation. Well, I am maybe a couple of generations after you, but even when I was in school, teachers were like really vicious, It's like crazy. They just had
I believe
too much power.
I believe, Anil, even now, although I'm not around in the school system
Right.
anymore, I don't experience it, but I think it still does exist.
Right. Well, I mean, we've had all these kids committing suicide, haven't we? Like in international schools, in local schools. And I mean, I don't know why no one is trying to look into it because it's becoming like an epidemic now.
That I'm sorry to say this, and I'm not being judgmental here.
Right.
But I just feel that we are bringing up a generation of weaklings. Our children are not strong enough to face the day, to face their challenges. And also parents are so busy, trying to make a life for the family
That they don't.
that they really
enough
don't
time.
see exactly. Quality time, they're losing out with their kids.
Well, I mean, the other day one of my favorite directors passed away. His name is David Lynch. And he created this amazing TV show called Twin Peaks. And it was released in 1990 and it was shown on Rupavahini in 95, I remember. So I did a bit of a write-up on Facebook about him. And I said in that how I discovered him was in 1990. This was shown on Rupavahini's TV series. And I have three other siblings. So all four of us used to sit by the TV with our parents and watch this, which is very awkward really, because Twin Peaks was quite a very, very visual, a bit of adult content kind of thing. So watching with your parents was a bit dodgy back in the day. But that's what we did. We used to all get together and watch teledramas, movies. I have gone with my
That
parents.
was considered the idiot box series.
Yes. But
But
it was quality family time.
family time.
I don't think families get together right now and watch a TV show. I very much doubt it, which is a shame, really. I mean, people are just busy doing their own thing.
Another thing that I find that most people don't do is generally is we don't read much now. Because
Very true.
everything is Google,
And audiobooks and
and stuff. But to actually take a book,
Oh, yeah,
with the
100%.
feel the rustle of the pages, that's something else. Something that I encourage my son to do.
Right.
And pocket money, he had to save and buy a book.
All right.
So whatever, if he wanted to buy Famous Five or whatever was his choice, he bought that book. But books it was, not other things.
So there you go. In that itself, you have enriched him so much, right?
I tried.
So there you go.
Kayugi atite pavi 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 kiyawe me navalovegi navagi ras galavi had gas merit noya soyala.
So, Mariazelle, let's get back into the here and now. So now you are such a veteran of the music industry, a bit of a legend, in fact. You are still called on to judge so many competitions and be a part of so many things. How do you see the music industry currently with the younger generation, and even the older generation is still around? I mean, we shouldn't call them the older generation, but people are from back in the day are still doing great things. How do you see the music industry now with all these new reality shows and TV shows and all that?
I come from an era where, people, when I won the Observer Talent Search, I had a fabulous, distinguished panel of judges. Minar Fernando, Dalvin, there was Indrani Pereira, Trevin Fonseca, Winston Jayawardena, Harold Sindamaratna, and a couple of others. So we didn't know who the judges were going to be until we actually faced them that day.
Right.
So how we performed that day was how they judged us.
Right.
It was not a vote,
Oh, SMS. There were no SMS voting. No.
voting, no views, no algorithms being manipulated, no benefactors and sponsors pushing you forward. Now, today, you take a song, right? Let's say Candida Missing. It actually went out to the people, genuinely, legitimately went out to the people.
Right.
Why is it still popular? Why is it that people still
Cover it.
listen to it?
The crowds go crazy for it. Yeah.
Crowds go crazy for it, perform it. I mean, everybody performs it. Why is it? Because it actually went out to the
Yeah.
right?
True.
And how did it go out? It was not on radio. It was not on TV. It went out because the record bars, right, were playing it, and then people picked it up and went and bought the record.
That's great, no? I mean,
Right? Because they actually heard it. But today, YouTube is there, social media platforms are there, streaming platforms are there. You put a song out there, whether it's good or bad, it's immaterial. You change the algorithm, you manipulate the algorithms, and it reaches.
You can boost it.
You can boost it, you can boost the views. So you have a sponsor.
Fake views.
Exactly. What you hear it today, it's trending number one. It's trending number one. Tomorrow, where is it?
Of course. And also, I think that's why, like, back in the day when I'm talking about the 90s for me, when I used to go and get songs recorded from these record bars and stuff like that, like, we used to keep so much. Those songs are so valuable to us because we spent all the money we had, got those songs recorded first on tapes, then on CDs, and we put a value to those songs. But now there's no value to music because it's just so freely available that people just don't care, you know. So, and we can see the kind of music that's coming.
They're stealing, they're cribbing, they're, you cannot imagine the vilest things happening now. Take myself. People are very happy to sort of practically take my songs, own it,
Yes, this is what I want to talk to you about.
and disregard the fact that I have worked hard, very hard,
100%.
put those songs out there.
I 100% agree with you. I was talking about this too. I think when Chitral came over here as well, there has to be some kind of copyright law and some kind of royalty mechanism in this country.
So we in fact met the representative of NIPO and we told her, the world is changing and it's now a digital world. Basically, these laws have to be amended. She point blank refused.
No, I don't think it should be. I think we should all get together and petition the government.
We did that.
And that didn't work? Maybe this is a different government, you never know.
No, the government was prepared to do it.
Right.
Government was prepared. She said, yes, this has to be adapted. AI,
Yes.
laws to govern AI has to be implemented,
Yes, of course.
right? Otherwise, tomorrow, Anil Balasuriya will be talking some rubbish somewhere and that will be proven as
And
truth.
of course, because now it's so good, no, you can just create images. No, but also what I think is now, look at you, Mariazelle. You had this major hit called Candila Missy. Now, over the years, now when did you release that song?
77.
77. Now we are in 2025. Now, how many decades is that? That's almost 3-4 decades, right? So, how many people must have performed that song live to this date? Millions? I mean, I'm sure so many people. So, how many times would that song have been performed live by other people except for you? Right? There should be a royalty whenever someone performs an original song of someone else. They have to get some money. It doesn't have to be a lot. 1,000 rupees, 500, because it all adds up. Imagine if you collected all your royalties, if it existed from 1977 to now. I mean, you would be incredibly wealthy, would
We
you?
did not know, Anil, that there is a thing called a copyright law, Intellectual Property Act. We did not know that. But now we know. This is a very unpopular topic and I'm going to be
He likes unpopular topics. Huh?
I am going to be blacklisted now, but there is this organization which calling themselves a collecting center. Every musical show held at Nelumpokana or BMISH or anywhere in the vicinity of Colombo had to declare what the singer was going to sing.
Right.
And 10,000 rupees was charged per song.
That's okay.
So you had 20 songs
Yeah.
on 1,000 rupees, right? So that is for 50% to the lyricist, 50% to the music director,
Producer, yeah.
producer. I get a call from the secretary of this organization about a month ago, 1.5 months ago. There's some money due to you. Can we have your account details? I said, what is this money? For what?
Right.
I said, how much? 4,000 rupees. I said, what?
4,000 rupees.
I said, what is this for? No, last year, that is 2024.
All right. Oh, so this is still going on, this collecting, okay.
2024, one of your songs has been sung at a concert. I said, excuse me, one of my songs? I said, are you guys asleep? Or are you just waking up or what? I said, let me tell you, my songs have been sung at every event, every wedding.
Yes.
Right? And you're trying to tell me only 4,000 rupees is due to me? I said, keep that.
I mean, I see it on Instagram all the time, these young girls singing your song.
Right? So,
And since you are the songwriter as well, it's criminal, no?
they don't even give me credit. Right? That's another thing. Now, can you imagine this organization turn around and tell me there's 4,000 rupees due to you? Honest.
Crazy. You should keep your 4,000 rupees.
That's what I said. I said, keep it. I don't want it. Don't collect money on my behalf, I said.
Right.
Don't get caught collecting money on my behalf. Because this is a report.
No, there has to be some kind of, proper body to do this. In fact, when Stephanie Sirivardhan was here, we were talking about this as well because she's getting into music. That this, like, a lot of artists want to implement this, So I just think it's a matter of getting together and having a trusted group of people doing it.
Trusted group of people.
Yeah.
None of them are trustworthy.
Yeah, because someone can easily collect money on your behalf and
That's what's
vanish, right?
that is what's happening. That is what's happening.
So why are more artists talking about this and saying that this stuff is happening?
They're all
I
talking.
don't want to rock the boat.
They're all talking about it and murmuring. I'm the only one who's vocal about it. That's all.
Well, now it will be on and people will hear about it. So let's see what happens. What do you think about all these reality shows and stuff like that that's going on these days?
Well,
Have you ever, you said that when you were performing in the Observer Talent Search and all that, you were judged by Minod and all. Have you ever judged any of these reality shows?
I did. A very young
Young kids. Like,
young kids thing, and I found that there were discrepancies among the panel.
right.
I found students of the judges entering these competitions. Now, I asked them one,
Very unethical.
I said, how are you able to give an honest comment about your student? Where are the ethics involved in it? So since then,
You got fed up.
I got fed up. I got turned off because I don't believe in doing things like that. People have asked me, those who are in competitions, in that very same competition, asked me, can we bring the child to you? I said, no. Not whilst I'm on the panel.
Yeah, of course. I mean, how can you judge them fairly?
Exactly.
There's obviously a conflict of interest, right?
Winners of certain reality competitions have, most of these judges on these panels are known to one another.
Yeah.
They are good friends with him. So some of these winners are actually students of some school and they are all friends.
So you mean to say there's a bit of favoritism and this is all pre-planned? Well,
How do you go run up to somebody and hug the person? You were fantastic when you walked in the scene.
yeah, I've seen that happening. I remember I've seen judges who are hugging people and say, oh, you're okay, and acting like they don't know this person when this person has been on stage like for decades, Like, it's crazy.
I either been on stage for decades or they've actually been in somebody's school.
Yeah, of course.
Somebody's school. I'm not mentioning names here, but there are very few
Right.
local schools. So
I saw recently you had put something which got a bit of attention, about some competition that's going on now. And
this little girl does have a little bit of stage presence.
yes, of course.
She's got potential.
Give it a go, yeah.
But you are talking about talent here. You're not talking about stage presence. Are judging stage presence, you're judging
Singing.
voice and singing.
And that
That includes your diction,
diction, yes.
right? So
Or maybe if she sang a singer song, she'd be better. But for that English song, she didn't have the diction, did she?
her diction was a mix of English, Sinhala and Tamil, in my opinion. Right? Probably it was the way that she was rolling her R's, you don't roll R's like, no? You don't sing like, you don't sing like that. So there was this line, the word was onna, but the way it was pronounced was ronna. And there is no such word in the Sinhala dictionary as ronna. There's one. Is
Mabaru Ron.
no, ron is pollen.
Right, pollen, yeah, pollen. Yeah, pollen. Yeah.
Right? So there's run, but there's ronna. No, there is no ronna. And I found that all four chairs,
And they turned it out so fast.
exactly, right? So either it was pre-planned. For some reason, this contestant needs to be taken forward.
Look, any industry, any company that has musical shows and let's give people a platform, I'm all for. Because actually sometimes judging on these shows also, it's a thankless job.
And it's a tricky thing.
It's a tricky thing, but I did it once. I actually organized the competition like that. And there is so much politics. The parents are always pressuring the judges. It's crazy. So it's a thank. So I understand what the judges go through. But sometimes it baffles me,
I'm thinking now, out loud now.
Right.
Maybe there was something wrong with the
The sound.
sound going to the judges. I don't know, right? This can happen. So all four cannot make the same
But
mistake.
I have seen now, after you put your post, so many other people have put other posts also, I saw. So I don't know, Sunny, what can we do? We are helpless in this stuff. But I mean, you see this and you just think, what's going on? I'd like to do, but I'd like to see you as a judge, though. I think you'd be quite good.
Like you
Yeah, I think you'd be quite fair.
trying to get me shot.
Yeah. They should get you to win. Why? They should call you to be a judge for these things.
No, thank you.
Huh?
Because I'm very straightforward.
Right.
What I have to say, I say. People don't like that. Sri Lankans now don't like a straightforward answer. They want everything
Sugar coated, yeah.
So, no, I'm not that kind of person.
Oh, right. But that's the thing. Sometimes you have to be diplomatic and you have to kind of play to the gallery, which is silly because, look, in everyday life you can be like that. But when it's a competition and what you say is so important for these kids, right? That's how they learn, right? That's how they go and learn from it. So it's a bit tough, but who knows? All we can hope for is the best.
I saw another clip where a little girl is singing a song by Michael Jackson.
Yeah, okay. I
Jackson does not have a gutter at all. Just have a guttural voice. He has a high-pitched voice. And this girl is singing kind of, she's going on.
Yay, recording in standard mode.
You're recording it on your phone, I think. I think you must have pressed something down on your phone.
Oh my gosh. So Michael Jackson doesn't have this guttural voice. He's got a high-pitched. It's Michael Jackson. So found this little girl singing the Earth song and she's grinding. All of that and find judges. Reaction got goosebumps and why are you over? Why can't you see yourself? Can't you hear yourself? Do you not hear the stupidity of this whole thing?
Yeah, I think, like you say, maybe there's some sound issue. Who knows? If they see this, they might look into it. But what can you do? At the end of the day.
The moment they see this, she's kuhakai. She's jealous because
Jealous.
yes,
Yes.
she's jealous because she's not on the banner. I don't want to be on the banner. Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, I think that
I would like-
I think the competition will be better to have you on the panel because you've been around for so long and you've done it the hard way and you're singing, you play instruments, you have great idea of pitch and diction and how you articulate certain words when you sing. So I don't know why they don't ask people like you or senior people in the industry.
As I said, Anil, they want everything sugar-coated. They want a rosy picture potted out there. What they're doing is damaging a competitor.
Yeah, of course, I 100%
Because
get
that
that.
person take a child, that child will grow up thinking, I had everything going for me. Everything fine. I was told, all four judges told me I was good. How did I lose? That is where things happen. Because the honesty and the credibility in the whole operation is lost. And talking about this is a lovely one. I had to help one of my nieces buy a guitar for her son for Christmas. So she gave me a budget and I generally young children, this is not the way my father did things though, but I would like them to have a second-hand guitar.
Right.
Because I don't know where these interests are going of the future. So I went to the shop and took the guitar out. I looked at it, looked good, played a chord. It was awful because it was not tuned. So I just started tuning it to my ear,
Right.
which was how I be trained to tune guitar.
Of course.
So if you tuned it, that guy is looking at me and said, "Kanata neither tune kare you
You
yeah, you didn't use the tune," and he is looking for the tuner. By that time I finished tuning. So I said, yes, that's the way I was trained. It's my ear.